Trouble for the Department of Veterans Affairs. The embattled agency says it may have to close some hospitals if a $2.5 billion budget gap isn't met. Florida Congressman Jeff Miller is the chairman of the House Veterans Affairs Committee. He says he's shocked at the enormity of the VA's issues. Joins us live. Chairman, thank you for your time today.
Thank you. It's good to be with you.
All right, so basically what we're hearing from the VA is that they're going to have to close hospitals and taper back service unless Congress comes up with another $2.5 billion. Your response?
Well, the problem is it was just notified to us a little over 2 weeks ago that the problem was as large as it is. The Secretary has said we'd like to have some flexibility going back into February. But he came to me with a throwaway one-line sentence, basically in a letter, and said, if you don't give this to us, we're going to close every hospital and clinic in the United States. So basically, they're trying to back Congress into a corner using the veterans as pawns.
Well, I know that there's been a lot of investigation into what happened involving wait times, who's responsible. I mean, by our last accounting, the research that we did here just a few weeks ago, only one person has been fired within the VA. You could argue maybe up to 3, but one for sure directly related to wait times. So with all of the investigations going on, the auditing going on, how did this budget gap build up to where it is? Do we know what where the money is going, what kind of efficiency we're dealing with or not dealing with? How did we get to this point?
Well, what has happened is the VA made a gamble knowing that there was the $10 billion that we appropriated last August with the Choice Act. And so they bet that they would be able to stretch out the number that they had until the end of September, the end of the fiscal year, and they lost that bet. Now they've come to Congress and basically said, we don't have enough money to keep the hospital doors open. If you don't give it to us on the 20th of August, which is during the August work recess, we're going to have to shut down these facilities. Again, this is VA playing with the numbers and not being transparent with the legislative branch that appropriates the money.
All right. Listen, I know you get an earful, especially because of the job that you do, the position that you hold. All of us do. I mean, we get emails, we get tweets, we get Facebook comments. People stop us on the street, as I'm sure they do with you too, saying, why does this disaster continue? We have veterans who have served this country who cannot get a doctor's appointment. It seems a year after this broke, we are not much further along in resolving it. What is it going to take? You have passed legislation. The rules have been changed about who can be fired. But it doesn't seem like in day-to-day practicality it's gotten any better for our veterans.
Well, the unfortunate thing is about 250,000 employees at the VA are union members. And this week, I have a bill that will come to the floor that will give the Secretary not just the ability to fire the top executives within the VA, but any person in the VA that can't or won't do their job. Accountability is the most important thing to change the culture at the VA. Unfortunately, the Secretary and those at the VA have done very little to change that culture. He'll say he's fired 1,400 individuals since he became Secretary. 1,000 of those were on probationary status. We're talking about people that have been with the agency for 10 and 15 years that are so ingrained in the culture that they know that they can't be held accountable, and I think that's what's stopping the VA from changing the path that it's on. People have to serve the veterans, not protect bad bureaucrats.
Very quickly, because we're just about out of time, Donald Trump, whether you like him or not, has talked a lot about this on the campaign trail. He says because he's a successful businessman, he would come in and clean house. The VA would be changed from day one. But based on, you talk about unionized employees, you talk about the bureaucracy, is it realistic to say that any one person could come in and change this overnight?
I've said it from the very beginning. This did not happen overnight. It's happened over decades. It's going to take a long time to fix. But we need to have a partner at the VA that's willing to work with Congress, not push against us in trying to resolve the problems that exist there. And again, don't protect the bad bureaucrat, serve the veteran. That's what they're there for.
All right, Chairman Jeff Miller, we wish you and your colleagues on both sides of the aisle all the best in getting this rectified. We know that Americans across the board, across the ideological spectrum, are pulling for you. Thank you, sir.
America expects nothing less.
All right, Leland.